Welcome to Ishura's World. I'm a life coach. Ishura's World. Welcome to Ishura's World. I'm a life coach. Welcome to Ishura's World. I'm a life coach. Ishura's World. Welcome to Ishura's World. I'm a life coach. Hi, everybody. My name is Ish, and I'm your international life coach. And today is the introduction recording for my next video. It hasn't been recorded, y'all, so it's up and coming. Next video will be the Moorish legacy, the story of our creation. Bedtime story for kids. I love the kids. Kids are like my number one priority when it comes to living. Yeah, I help a lot of adults, but children are my main focus. And thus far, I've been blessed enough to touch many children's lives. I'm trying to touch a couple more. So stay tuned for my bedtime story, The Moorish Legacy, based on true story, coming to YT real soon. Parents, grandparents, friends, enemies, lovers, fighters, anyone who's listening to this quick recording. I'm Ish, and I am going to share with my son, actually, because I wrote this story out after listening to an awesome man by the name of Rick Smith. He's a white man, and they recorded him talking to a couple of black, wisdom-minded, older MOOR individuals about how the Moorish legacy came to about in the eyes of this man, Rick Smith. And after I watched it on YouTube, Rick Smith's documentary and talks about how he thinks we came about, I was happy to realize, wow, this man touched me and helped me understand all the little pieces of information that I was getting since the age of 3 years old, and then connecting each year, each experience, each decade to the point where I'm right now about to be 39 soon. Yay me, but I feel and fuck like a 20-year-old. Oh yes, viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised. Viewer discretion is advised. This is why the story for the children is on another recording, because I'm very old school. I don't do editing. I'm very OG with my YT channel, so I don't have pictures popping up, and I don't have time to do editing. Like, I know I can do it, but I don't have time to do it. So I raw dog it for my channel and for my clients, and this is me raw dog from beginning to the end of the conversation, lecture, or connecting experience. So I would love for you, the number one reason for you to have your child listen to this bedtime story of the Moorish legacy is because, one, it's based on the truth. Two, you have a great person, blessed, highly favored, anointed, very comfortable, don't want for nothing. Don't have a husband, but I have plenty of positive male species around me, esoteric and third dimensional. This bedtime story for your children would really, number one, boost their mental state of being, so they understand that no, it wasn't Jesus Christ that was your father. Jesus Christ is a metaphor in the Bible. Yeah, I want you to go to church. Yeah, I want you to bond with church folk type people, but understand and know that the church is based on a complete lie stolen from us, the Moors. So this story time is for my next generation. Like, after I'm dead and gone, I know YT will be here way longer than me, because it's a corporation and it makes good money, and I love the company, and if I had money I would buy stock in YT, but this will stay longer than me. No matter how much longer it stays after me, the fact that it's going to be here after I die makes me feel good. Audrin, I love you. I know I say it a lot, but you know mommy loves you, and you're, again, another one of those main reasons why mommy does this channel. I want you to be able to see how mommy was back in the day, you know? before she calmed down, before she changed, before she got older, before she came even more wiser. Mommy was very crunk back in the day, baby, but I'm definitely a lot more focused, a lot more driven. Yes, some people say I've kind of failed in life compared to my beautiful overachieving family that I love completely to death. All of them are doers, shakers in whatever realm they choose to do it in. My family are school driven G's, royalty. Even though I haven't reached my potentials in what some people would consider good potentials for someone in this world, I am very happy where I'm at right now in life. I'm very happy to the point where I'm doing what I love, and that is catering to the people who need me. Also, teaching my legacy, which is my son, Audrin. Big up. Love you, baby. This story is for you, because when I say the story, Audrin, I'm talking to you, boy. Mommy has given you the truth about this world and about how you can make magic come to life and make it into power. Just don't forget it. And only a chosen few get to know most of the secret society truths about who we really are. But I've chosen to take the path of living my life to the fullest and enjoying it, doing what I want under nobody's time clock but mine, agreeing to the legalities of the certain divisions here on the United States of America. But for sure, if need be, I know who I am, Sovereign Moor. And if I need to remind you of that, I will. Always, always. But I remind you of it in peace and love, because I live and I follow rules under a totally different law and doctrine, which is the peace and treaty, unlike the United States of America, which are the social security havers, which are the workers, which are the birth certificate retainers. That's your bill of sale for being born in this world. Soon as you're born in this world, boom, you a worker. That social, that birth certificate, you a worker, if you didn't know that. But anyway, back to the commercial I was doing for this coming up, supposed to be next video of the MOOR legacy. The MOOR legacy, the story of our creation. So and again, this is a disclaimer to anybody who believes Jesus Christ is my savior, anybody who believes Buddha is my savior, anybody who believes Bum Shanti, Lakshmi, that's a female god in the Indian faith, Mohammed, Moses, whoever you choose to believe in whatever religion you choose to be. Everybody knows I don't like religion, because religion separates everybody instead of putting them together, because when it comes down to it, spirituality, consciousness, and one-mindedness is my main factor, and they don't do that with the church. Church makes you think sexuality is a bad thing, and I believe that sexuality is your kundalini snake energy manifesting on a karmic level as energies exchange. That's why you could fuck someone and fall in love with them, and then that person fuck you and forget your fucking name, forget the whole experience, because love and experience and sexuality is an energy exchange. It's something that cannot be explained, because once you try to explain it, you have to explain it in multiple dimensions and multiple levels, because it's never just one thing, because life is about polarity, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, the magic and the sorcery, very, very two-sided ego spirit type situation. So the reason why I feel allowing your child to listen to the MOOR legacy, our story of creation, is because it speaks to your child in a story form about the truth on how we were perceived. And yes, the story includes aliens. And yes, the story includes biogenetics creation. And yes, the story also includes intergalactic corporations of the two-party intergalactic system. Where do you think they got it from to give to us people? Democrat, Republican, Rocket Shield, Rocket Shields and Rockefellers. I'm not looking at my notes. I'm not sure, but the two Rockers started with the Greys. Yes, that's in the story too. And it's just setting your children up to know who they are and where they come from, because it's not from a white guy with long straight hair called Jesus Christ. It's not from a fat guy who couldn't stop eating but still prayed a lot and made himself known to his people. Those are all prophets to me. In my opinion, all those religion gods and idols and your movie stars, TV stars, singer stars, and dancer stars, y'all all high paid entertainers to push the #1 agenda in this United States of America, this corporation, not this free land, but this corporation. And that is to keep us segregated, separated, mentally in a cardboard box the size of my fist, emotionally, and subconsciously making us choose to not connect and share with people on a positive, righteous, truthful note. So guys, please stay tuned for my next video, which is the story of Inky. I think this is a great bedtime story for children, and I believe that it will feed your child subconscious novel, even subconscious knowledge, even if they don't completely don't understand what the hell you're talking about. Because best believe when I speak to my son, I truly believe most of the knowledge information I give him flies over his head. Because if, for my clients, my YouTube, yes, you're considered my client. As soon as you listen to this free knowledge, you are considered my clients. I have paying clients, yes, but I bless people who can't afford me free knowledge, and I do this through YT, YouTube. I believe that even though my son has ADHD, well, I don't believe he has, I just believe he has a lot of energy. My son has a lot of energy, to the point where this world interprets his overabundant sonic energy force consistency as ADHD. They label everything here in this place because that's how they keep with the segregation. So just know, and I'm dressed to the teeth because it's cold out here. This is another day of spring. I don't even know what day it is, but today is another day of beautiful spring. And I woke up this morning because I have another doctor's appointment. The devil's a liar. And that's the devil as in Enlil in my story to come. Enlil is the father of Inky, who I consider is a comparison to, like, not Jesus Christ, but he is the biochemist that made up the first generations of the Moors. And remember, my secret society truth from Ish is that the Moors started all races. We had a couple of white slaves as slaves. Where do you think the Greys, who then told the whites, those were the people banished from Africa because they started bloodletting them, small group of people started bloodletting themselves only through the influence of the Greys' manipulation and bloodletting themselves to the point where they lost complete color of their beautiful brown prescription and they ended white. And another group of black tribesmen of different lands and different groups kicked out, I think it was like maybe 2 or 3, kicked out the small barbaric group of bloodletting Moors that turned white. They couldn't deal with the environment after they bloodletted themselves, so they couldn't stay there anyway. We sent them off to Europa. Europa is named after the queen of Africa. There was a queen of Africa called Europa, so they named it Europa. And that land back then, generations ago, was very dirty, exile-ish, dry, mountainous lands. That's where you get the 5%er information about white people fucking dogs and things of that nature. They were very barbaric people. The kids don't get this knowledgeable information about, now I don't go too deep when it comes to the story time about the beginning of creation, but this is just a mommy daddy adult conversation. That's why it's two separate takes on what you'll basically a borderline of what your kids hear for their bedtime story. So basically I believe that Enlil is like the devil and Enki is like the Jesus Christ, the biochemist who, with his sister Nimrumsun, and a group by the name of the Unkeels. Okay, before I go into the story, I have to also consider the people who don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I think this is going to be to date the longest video I'll ever have, because I don't like videos that are too long. I don't like videos that run like, unless it's like a movie or something, you know what I mean? But talking videos, I try to keep them cut down, but I can't cut this down, because if I'm going to tell you the intergalactic two-party system creation of the Moor generation, then you won't completely understand where I'm coming from. So if anybody ever asks me, well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? I most likely believe they would come to this video, which is Mom and Dad learn about the Moor legacy. Mom and Dad learn about the Moor legacy. I like that topic better. I think I'm gonna change it. Then you need to listen to this video. And also, this is to my son, Audrin. I want to tell you the story of the Moor legacy. And if should something ever happen to me, Audrin, you can come to this perspective, your mommy's perspective on the Moor legacy. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe the Moorish legacy started this way. There was this two-party system in intergalactic space. I'm not talking about Earth, but I'm talking about space. There was these group of reptilians. From an empire called the Aryan Empire. It was called the Aryan Empire, and this was an older male empire of intergalactic beings. And what they were doing was expanding the galaxy. They were just doing that, expanding the galaxy. And as they expanded the galaxy, they encountered another empire by the name of the Sata. By the name of they came from Sata, but their names were the Satas. And this was a group of female species that moved about in the intergalactic hemisphere, where all our different 12 planets from, where we get our signs from, type thing. And the women basically took over what the men was doing, and which was expanding the empire, which was stretching it out, because we all know scientific fact that the galaxy is forever expanding. You'll learn that in A&P class, in science class, when you go to school. One good thing about school, they give you the basics, but there's a lot of lies in between the basics. So you just have to pull out the basics and do the best you can when you choose to pick an art to make money off of here in this world. You either do that or live on this world till you die. One or the other. So, the Satas were a female empire, and to be honest, they were very greedy about how they expanded and how they gained and how they wanted. So, they found Earth. Before they found Earth, the Satas also worked with another group, the triangle here. Let me finish the triangle. And this other group was from another empire, much smaller, called the Canis Empire. And this was like a very cannibalistic type group of beings. They were like a mixture of canines that walked on 2 feet type visual. And they were like considered the middle management of the Satas, because the Satas, they chose to extract by doing the least work as possible. They weren't like the men and shoveled and expand and mind penetrating. Satas cut to the chase, get a middleman to do their business, and they reap the benefits of the middleman. This started in the intergalactic two-party system. This is how the whites manipulate us right now. They took it from us. So the Satas had the middle management, which were the Canis empire, and they basically carried out the commands of the Sitars. But this was no ordinary warrior group. This was like elite group of warriors. Again, the visual, canines walking on their feet type species. And they were workers. They were hard workers. Now, this is the triangle here. This is the triangle here. The triangle here. Okay? The triangle here. Sitars, the Aryans. Sitars, the Aryans, and the canine. This is the picture I'm trying to give you, people, the best way I can. I loved Rick Smith's explanation, but I acknowledge it and spit it out differently. This was the feudal war that was happening, people, in the intergalactic atmosphere before Earth was found, okay? Before Earth was found. And this feudal law between these different empires in the intergalactic space, they already knew we had to have some type of order so everybody can reap the benefits. But what we fail to realize is that the cunning and sneaking is where it blows up in our third dimensional realm. But they were having they decided to have this feudal agreement with each other, and they had their systems, they had their checks, everybody had a position. You know what I'm saying? And what the Canis used when they were sent to the earth to dig up the raw materials, the metals, the golds, the plants, the nature, the Canis group needed a group of slaves to work, because the Canis, they're warriors, they're pushers, man. They're your dope dealing pushers out there that go out there and stand on the corner, sell the dope to our children, even though they know it's bad for them. They're that type of energy, that type of species. And the Sitars gave the Canis group a group of slaves to work. So what the Sitars did is, so the Sitars sent the Canis group down, and they sent their favorite person from the Canis group. They sent their favorite person, well, not the favorite, but the highest level person from the Canis Empire International Group. They sent down, boom, on the earth. They sent down their favorite, King Anu. King Anu. They sent down King Anu to earth to use an energy called brainwashing, mind control technology through the third eye, people, through the third eye, so their workers can work. So that's what they did. So he came down to earth, and Canis group left from middle management to actually upper management, because he was part of the triangle of the intergalactic galaxy. And now Anunnaki, Anu, has become the third man, the middle man, because now Canis don't have to do no more work. They could chill in the intergalactic atmosphere and cause havoc and do whatever they want to do in whatever dimension they want to do it in. But King Anu, the favorite, comes down to create the slaves and to put them to work. So he does that, my kings and my queens. He does that, whoever's listening to me. This is the truth. And I'm trying to do it as organized as possible before I go into the beautiful, easy, breezy kid story. You need to know the full truth. Audrey, you need to know the full truth. I've been telling you this, and you better be listening to this, because I'm making this because of you, Audrey. And yeah, for other people, but you're the main one. You have to remember what mommy told you. And I'm hoping, like, this goes back to what I separated myself from the lecture from. This goes back to, even though I don't think my son, even though I think they labeled him ADHD, and I do believe that he doesn't hear most of the stuff I say, I hope we have a connection so much so that if he doesn't remember, he can always come to YT and listen to this. So they made their first group of slaves, and these first group of slaves could be referred to as the Adapa, very guerrilla, dumb guerrilla type slaves. This is where the white man gets, we generated from slave. No, we didn't. Two different groups of people. They made the Adapa, and the Adapa, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, when Anu came down on earth, and he put everybody to work. He started creating. He also came down with his son, which I said was Enki, my forefather, but he also came down with his sister, the Princess Nimhersong. She was the sister, and these two were the geneticists of the slaves. So first group of slaves was the Adapa. They were ape-like. They walked on 2 feet. Okay, let me talk about the Adapa, my kings and queens. The Adapas were very dumb type species. You told them what to do, they did it. But they had short attention spans, and it was basically you do it and that's it. They used whips and that's it. But they saw that the production system wasn't as fruitful because they just wasn't getting what they were expecting from the raw materials of Earth. So Iya Inki, Iya Inki is derived close from Il Iliun, but Iya is the root of Il Iliun. Iya Inki and his sister Nimhersung made these primate ancestors, but it didn't work out. So his father said, go back to the drawing board. King Anu was like, go back to the drawing board, Enki, because we need better workers. So Enki is like a revolutionary. Like, he doesn't think like how his father thinks. His father thinks slaves are slaves and that's it. But Enki doesn't believe this. So Enki and his sister goes back to the drawing board and uses the Aryans, the male intergalactic species technology, and he creates another breed. But there's one ingredient he adds to our ancestral beginnings, which is the Moor legacy, was actually they connected they received another trait DNA from another species, people. Yes, another species. And this species was called the Unkeels. And this species was called the Unkeels. I don't know. Okay, and another thing, this is a disclaimer. I'm just trying to feed the truth. If you don't believe me, if you believe me, if you think I shouldn't be sharing the secret society information, I believe that the more information you give them in certain degrees, I think the better it is for the species. It's going to take a long time, but I believe in my people, and I believe in decades they'll finally wake up and realize. And I already know this information on YT is going to be on here for decades, because I just speak my own opinion. It's up to you to accept it or reject it. So they connect together with the Unkeels, and the Unkeels are a bird-like aviotic type species. They're very highly evolved. Interdimensionally wise, we can see them X-ray in 3D in the third dimension, but they live in like the 5, 6 dimension, maybe even 7th dimension, and they gave to the two biochemists the ingredient of being the anointed one, basically our hearts. All these other species, they don't have hearts, and that's why they're jealous of us. So know why. It's not our color that they're jealous of us about. They made their own color. No, the anger comes from the fact that we are the anointed one, and they used to be anointed, and they chose to go a different route, which made them the devils. They calling themselves the Illuminatis. No, we're the illuminated ones. The Moors are the illuminated ones, not the devils. And I'm not talking about the picture of Bethaphat. I know I'm pronouncing the god incorrectly. The one with the horns. That's actually a very good symbol of positive and negative energy, light and darkness. Remember, you need both for yin and yang living in this world. So the Unkeels gave them the new gene compassion, the modified new gene called compassion, and they took that, and by mixing that with the Unkeels, they created like a Yasu, a Isa, a guru, a master, a prophet, a teacher, and they created an elite core of human beings, that set up for the second set of genetically created slaves, which we were called the anointed ones. So the gorillas were two different species. That's what they didn't tell you. Oh, you evolved. No, we're nothing like them. We're nothing like the Adapa. We're nothing like the Adapa. We are nothing like the Adapa. We are totally different from the Adapa. But that's the plies they use to keep you in their life. So by using the Unkiel to pump knowledge of secret wisdom to the new genetic race, he used stuff like, Enki used stuff, and his sister used stuff like crystals. They went to the caves, and he taught them information. So after starting to feed these new sets of slaves the information, these new sets of slaves this information, this new sets of slave information, Enki started getting bold. Inky was started because his daddy still had earthbound Adapas working, a couple of them. He goes to the Adapas, which the Bible calls the Adam and Eve garden. The garden was where they kept the Adapas when they weren't working and drawing up the raw materials from Earth, because Earth was huge as shit, and they had the Adapas everywhere. It was a large empire. They had the Adapas everywhere. But know that Inky got really bold with himself, so he went to his father's camps and told the Adapas that, this because back with the Adapa, they set up a regimen of when the Adapas were supposed to mate. Most of the time they were working, but once every month or so they rotate the Adapas to mate, and they couldn't mate unless they had the band, and each mate had a band, and each band had a connection to another mate, so they knew who was breeding, they know who had babies, like they had the production of the slaves at a T. Same thing the white people did when they put us in our shacks on the South. They got it from us. Okay, so then Inky goes to the Adapa and says, that thing you do every once a month with your mate? You don't have to do it once a month, because Adapas were so stupid that they didn't realize that they could fuck any bitch whenever they wanted to. They just followed what the master did. So Inky tells them that they could fuck whatever. Time goes by, and then Adapas start wilding out. Adapas start wilding out. Adapas start fucking everything. Adapas start fucking everything. They fucking all over the place. No work is getting done, people. Adapas fucking, Adapas fucking, Adapas fucking. No work is getting done, people. Adapas fucking, Adapas fucking, Adapas fucking. No work is getting done. Now remember, in a huge system like slavery, you don't notice that the groups of slaves are not fucking until you realize work is not getting done. And of course, who told them work was not getting done? My kings and queens, the Satars in the intergalactic tribunal galaxy is telling them, the numbers are down. What's going on Earth? Like, you're not producing what you usually. So Anu finds out that his son Inky has told the Adapas about fucking. Then Anu finds out that his son Inky took a small group of anointed ones and took them to the caves and was teaching them, and was also teaching the slave ones. While he's working with the new slave group, the anointed ones, he's also spitting to them private knowledge his father Enlil told him not to give them. Slaves are not supposed to know who they are. So, as the first group of the MOOR legacy, and we were the second genetic group of slaves, Inky was giving us information he wasn't supposed to be giving us. So he's giving us information. Father finds out. His father Enlil goes on a rampage. Start killing slaves, start killing skin. What? Inky is his father's child. Inky gets scared, my kings and queens. Inky gets scared because his father's killing and pissed off what Inky has done. He's fucked up the whole system. He's middle management. He's making himself look like at the Satars like bullshit. Satars is like, Anu, you're supposed to be taking care of your business. And Lil, what's going on? Your son is fucking up shit. So then Inky gets scared. Inky runs away. He takes a small group of anointed ones that he could, and he finds a ship. He ships off himself to the Pleiades people. He ships himself off with a small group of the anointed ones, which I think a small group to me would be close to thousands. I believe it's thousands. When I heard this story, he didn't give a number on how many, but my heart told me it was thousands of anointed one. Still thousands, millions more, still close to 100,000 more of slaves on Earth working for the raw materials in Africa. Still, after he took, I think it was thousands. Some people might think hundreds, some people might think a couple. I think it was thousands of anointed ones. And that didn't even put a dent in all the slaves he left behind. Inky left behind mad slaves, mad slaves. So that little 1,000 was nothing. But they help us now. And you see that through people like Baku, and the woman from The Secret. She gives you a little scratch of the surface. And also that beautiful woman Masaki talks about it. The boy Hotep from 13 Signs talks about it. Also, what's the name of that girl? I said Malaskasi. I know I'm pronouncing your name wrong, sweetie love, and I'm so sorry. Malaskowski. It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful name. And also there's one more. Anyway, those people speak about this and understand this and know this. So when Inky left, he left. But he took the Pleiades with him, and we connect with them now through people like that. We have intermediate people who are getting messages, who are being used as puppets, some interpreters, some messengers. People all around the world are getting messages from Pleiades, because that's Inky and the first set of anointed ones helping us, of course. And when I listened to this man's story, every little bit of information I was getting since I was a child connected into a whole story. And I want to bless people with this blessed information. So after Inky basically reverses the reptilian brainwashing mind control technology out of the Isu people with all the lies and deceit and truth, then Inky basically, like I said, revealed to the adopters, so he's safe on the Pleiades. Enlil is so upset, people, about what his son has did, that the Anunnaki, the workers for Anu, starts begging Enlil, please stop the killing of the slaves. Stop the killing of the slaves. You making it worse. You making it worse. Stop the killing of the slaves. Stop the killing of the slaves. You can't get money from a dead slave. Stop the killing of the slave. Stop the killing of the slave. And so he finally does. But then what he does is he uses the Aryan technology, mind controlling technology, to reprogram all of the leftover slaves. All of the leftover slaves, he reprograms them. And that was the only group of slaves he was able to have, because unless Nimhursung started making slaves by herself. And I know making slave with Nimhursung by herself is very different from Nimhursung, Inky, and the Unkills. You know what I mean? So I get it. So this is where he wipes off all the remaining slaves' minds, and he starts the first propaganda campaign for this intergalactic two-party system. He starts the propaganda campaign to wipe out his son's name. Excuse me. I wrote this lecture down so I never forget it, because I think my brain has been wiped so many times that it automatically wipes by accident. So I don't want to forget this information. So I wrote it down. Even with forgetting stuff, I still consider myself very knowledgeable, to the point where I'm a life coach. I'm no guru. Gurus know everything. I'm no guru, but I do believe I'm an experienced life coach that proactively helps people in life. So then Enlil starts this huge lie. And the lie is where he turns Inky into Baal, B-A-A-L, and then Baal into Diabal, D-I-A-B-A-L. That's how I spelled it. Diabal, which is actually Diablo, which they have turned it into the devil. So he made his son Inky the devil. Then he turned himself, same thing that, I'm going to go to the third dimensional info, same thing that the whites do with religion to you about your truth, about this truthful story, the Moorish legacy. They flipped it on you and made you started believing that the devil is good and that the good is bad. Kundalini sex is good. It brings up your third dimensional eye if you use it correctly to a higher plane of thinking. Okay? But they switch that to sex being bad, to sharing energy is being bad, and sharing energy is what makes you either stronger or weaker. So he turns himself, Enlil, from Gad, G-A-D, to God, G-O-D. And this is Enlil, the guy who destroyed us. But he has that mind technology, and they forgot. Just like a fall on the floor can make you forget something, or a hard knock in the fist, in the head will make you forget something, or a shot of drugs on a constant basis for a certain amount of time can make you forget something. It's very easy to completely blame, to brainwash. So that's what he did to us. But then there's a little extra drama going on. This is where TV gets its drama, from the intergalactic space. There was a little extra factor going on that none of the other groups was really thinking about, worried about. There's a group called the Greys. Now, the Greys' pictorial look would be more so like the aliens we see on TV, like Roscoe type species. And the Greys in the intergalactic atmosphere was considered the stone builders, They were the counters. These are the accountants of our third dimensional realm. They count the output of the intergalactic galaxy. That's how high they are. They count the output of the intergalactic galaxy. They count the output of the intergalactic galaxy. That motherfucker's big, people. They count they're counters. They count the output of the intergalactic galaxy. So what they do, because they want to move a little bit higher on the chain, these are the Greys with no heart. You have to remember, the aliens that you see on TV are the ones with no heart. They communicate, they feel, they exist through all intellectual mindset. No emotion, not one bit of emotion in their body. All mental mindset. That's what makes them a good output, a good receiver of its benefits, because they're very corporation-like with their moves, and they know what needs to be done to win the monopoly game of life. Monopoly, based on what they did to you people. Pay attention. So, the Greys decide, okay, no, let me tell you how the Greys move about. The Greys, because they're intellectual beings, move about very seamlessly through human bodies. This is how spirits connect with you. This is how energies affect you. This is how demons fuck your shit up. We're very susceptible to spiritual because we are both electrodes and magnets, and we have that two energy force that makes our heart beat, veins, arteries. So they seamlessly were like the Schutzstaffels. They moved around through the third dimensional realm with ease, with no problem. So they peep Inky's son, Marduk, who was left on the third dimension, left on the way. Yeah, he had kids. But the only important one is Marduk. Marduk is the son of Enki, and he was slow, not that smart. So he was also, again, a Syrian god of war. He was a Syrian god of war, but there wasn't too many bras in that lingerie drawer. It was like he was not all there, but he was a warrior. What this Grey species does is manipulate Marduk's ego. That's what they do to this day. And they throw out Enlil, his father. Yes, the Greys throw out Enlil, his father, with the help of Marduk by manipulating him. And they throw out the Anunnaki, his workers. And they basically lock down the whole system. The Greys do. Just by doing that one thing, just by manipulating Marduk and making Marduk kick out his grandfather and his people, the workers, the Anunnaki, which are warrior type people. You know how much strength you need to do that? You are setting yourself up to be in control. And that's what the Greys did. So the Greys go to the Satars and they say to the Satars, look, we got the earth down lock right now. And we truly, and they came at them on not a negative, but a very positive perspective. Said, look, right now your situation is not good. And we believe, the Greys believe, we can, I don't believe they said double. I don't believe they said triple. I think they said quadruple your resource income. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I believe that's what they said. He didn't, Rick Smith didn't say all this, but this, when he spoke the information, the story played like a picture in my mind. And if I had $100 million, it will be in a theater near you soon. The story of the Moorish legacy. The story of our creation, our truth. By Isharati Sadi Saif. Copyrights, all rights reserved. My story. Okay, so the Greys throw out a proposition to the Sitas, and because the Sitas are businesswomen, they just want to see, like with the killing of the slaves and what Inky was doing, this happened in like years time in my head. This happened, like he says it like it really quick, but I believe all of this happened in years time. So the Sitas is like, well, we ain't getting the production that we were getting for the past couple of years, because they don't be watching. They go do their expanding thing, and they come in and out decade after decades, like after a certain amount of decades. That's why I think it's late. I've been wrong, and I think it's even later than generations. This seems out dimensions, like times. It predicates time. So long story short, the Sitas say yes, they can run it, drop off the raw materials, and all they have to do is deal with the Greys. So the Greys come back down to earth, and what the Greys do after they request to run the whole operation on a dime. So not only they said they would quadruple it, but they also said they would do it as cheaply as possible. What the Chinese people do to us with these human hair wigs from AliExpress. I'm going to keep you my honest experience about AliExpress, the outer seas, eBay type store that sells wigs, clothes, everything, just like eBay. I believe it's one huge building that's chopped up into little offices, and they all come out of the same building. I truly believe that. I truly believe that, because their hair, so far what I've seen is that it's just one huge corporation giving out the same shit. Some of the boxes are the same, things of that nature. So that's what the Greys did. They said that they can run Earth on a dime and give better input than the Anunnaki and Anu. So they said, okay, Sitas said, cool, just bring out the input. So they go down there, and the Greys set up another, copied from the intergalactic system, a earthbound two-party system, And this earthbound two-party system was basically going to the outcast, blooded Africans, which now are considered the whites, and making a deal with them and promising them to be higher than the Moors, because the Moors just banned you. The Moors just kicked you out of their land. They think of you as nothing. They left you there to die in this cold abyss world, because Europe was dead and cold back then. And they said, cool. So with the help of the outcast, this is where white people come from, people. This is where white people come from, people. This is where white people come from, people. Here's where the Greys connect with the white exiled Caucasians, because a lot of them was in the Caucasian mountains, and helped them to manipulate the earth with years. It took years and decades to build their wealth, because now they have kings and queens, but this was all inspired by an alien race. So what Gray did was created a two-party system, and the two-party system, and I know I've said it in my other videos, but I don't think I've said it accurately because I have the notes in front of me. These were the Rockefellers, which are the Rockefellers, and the Rockeshields, which are the Rothschilds. These are two of one of the 7 families, I believe, that run this world. There's only 7 white families that run this world. They run a very tight, royal type living situation. They inbreed. They make sure that the person that they're dealing with has more money than them, because they're trying to acquire wealth, and they only deal with certain people. Like, they live a very royal lifestyle, like, my son is going to marry this person when he's of age type situation. And within doing so, they hold on to the wealth. So he makes up the Rockefellers and they make up the Greys, make up the Rockefeller and the Rocket Shields, so they can fall back from all the work. So now they have the whites doing the work, and they're now living it high like the Satars in the background. Perfect connection to explain to you how the Greys get down and proof that they live. You see, a lot of these YT videos show when the camera can manipulate light to the point where you see through their physical self and actually see the reptilian side or the reptilian mannerisms. You can catch a reptilian right in his eyes. This is why I believe, rest in peace to Eminem, this is why I believe the real Eminem is dead. Yes, I believe. You could believe me if you want to. I don't care. I believe the real Eminem is dead, and I believe that the Eminem out right now is genetically built, is a breed of him, like a robotic replica of him. And I loved, and if it's not, oh well, I loved Eminem, but his music has changed. He's very different, and I'm just not feeling the vibe off of him right now. So Greys do have the technology to give to us and the capabilities of jumping in and out of our governmental people to keep this world moving. They do it at a cost. So the Greys walked freely among the population like a Schutzstaffel. This is where the Freemason comes into a line with the information. The Freemasons. So they were Freemasons, the Greys, right? The Greys were Freemasons, but the birth of the Moorish legacy was started with the Unkeels and their genetic giving of the gene compassion, which made us the anointed much, which makes us royal blood. That's why Moors are considered the royals. This is connected to the awakening of the beast, because to be a good Moor, you have to comprehend light and dark, both sides. You have to be able to tap into both sides and still exist on a balanced plane. This also connects to what the Bible puts in as the Temple of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon to a Moor is the wisdom, the truth, physically keeping the body pure. Materialistically, like gold, because gold is a conductor of energy and heat. So from the gene compassion and the anointed ones comes a Moorish legacy that connects light, sound, frequency, because we all live through a frequency, upset, happy, frequency, and the sight of light. That's why Greys can be seen sometimes with certain manipulated camera equipment light. So Solomon is a linguistic for awakening the beast. And like I said, gold is a perfect conductor of energy. The gene compassion, filtered through the Temple of Solomon, becomes passion of the Christ. And that's the part. I wrote that down because when he said that, I completely didn't understand it, but he said the gene compassion is filled through the Temple of Solomon, which becomes the passion of Christ, I guess the passion of life. And this is seen example after example with people like Adam, Muhammad, Isa, Buddha, Noble Drew Ali, the Christ, all those prophets, all of them, yes. And even, what's his name? The one who sold out, Reverend Jackson. Yeah, Reverend Jackson, the one who has like 2 million or something like that. I don't know. He's got money, but he hurts more than he helps. So because the Greys could not erase compassion from the people, because that's what they were trying to do. They do that with TV, movies, desensitization. Their main number one agenda is basically to erase our compassion. And the way to erase our compassion is to desensitize us and make us like zombies. They're basically very jealous of us. Very, very jealous of us. Greys are so jealous of us that they keep us in bondage, keep us enslaved. Okay, here's the ending, guys. All right, because I'm coming up to an hour, and I don't want to be more than an hour, but we're towards the end. You made it. And this is some true shit. I'm not feeding you bullshit. To end the story, so basically, we live in a world where the outcast Moors made a deal with the devils, which were the great extraterrestrials, against us, the family of man, because we're the family of man and they're not. It's not a color thing, people, because there's many shades. It's a genetic thing. It's a genetic thing. It's not a color thing to me. Shouldn't be a color thing to you. It's a genetic thing. It's either you're from the family of man or you're a Freemason. One or the other. That's why some people think Jay-Z is a Freemason, because his heart shows that he's a Freemason. But I still believe that your heart can turn if you choose it to and try a different route, no matter where you at or where you are or what you've been through in life. So the Europeans made a deal with the devils, the Greys, and here is where the PFs become SS, who run the world. So this leaves us with two types of people, you guys, to finalize everything. My whole story about how we came to be as the MOOR legacy, the adult version, I have to finalize for the up and coming video of Bedtime Story, the MOOR legacy, our story of creation. I want you to understand that, in my opinion, there are two types of people. And I agree with what Rick Smith says. There is a family of man, which is flesh and bone, the MOOR legacy. We are into guerrilla warfare, royals with Syrian blood like Ea, Adapa, and the Unkils from the planet Sirius. The Atom, the family of men, the gene compassion, Kemet, custodians of earth. The beastie Adapa and the royal Syrian blood Ea, Nimhersim, and the Unkils. The lamp of illumination, the true Illuminati, the custodians. Or you are the bloodletted, the Greys. You are the oppressors, because you're either the family of men or you're the oppressors. So you're either lifting up or knocking down. I'm from the family of men, but you can also be from the oppressors, the people who do not deal with guerrilla warfare, but they deal with psychological warfare. The group that deals with not guerrilla warfare will deal with psychological warfare. I deal with guerrilla warfare. But there's another group, the bloodletters, the oppressors, and they deal with psychological warfare. These are the wood and stone species. These are the Masonic agenda people. These are the Greys. These are the Freemasons. These are the pale-skinned robots, no soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots, the no soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No, I thought I was going to go through this whole thing without singing. Without the soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No soul living beings. These are the pale-skinned robots. No more. Let me stop. Psychological warfare is what the oppressors are about. Warfare is what the oppressors are about. Iron hand of oppression and rulers is what the oppressors are about. So you're one of two people. It's your choice to choose. But when it comes down to it, I'm a MOOR. Respect mine. You respect me. I respect you. Even if you don't respect me, because I'm a MOOR and I'm royal, I'll respect you. Have a good day, you guys. I hope I gave you something to grow on, and I hope that you retain some of the information and look it up because of me or despite me. Have a good day, you guys, and I'll see you soon. This is Ish, your international life coach, wishing you blessings and miracles, love and abundance. Boom Shanti, Sri Lankan, Laikum Salam, Wadu. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. And I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. No, I'm leaving for real. Bye. I'm leaving. I'm leaving for real. I'm leaving for real. Bye.